Hello and welcome. My name is Mark Addison, and I serve as the Student Support Specialist and one of our student Title IX resource coordinators at the Harvard Extension School. It is an honor to work alongside the Dean of Students, Robert Neugeborn, and Associate Dean of Students, Shirley Green. A key component of the work that we do within the Dean of Students office involves student leadership. This aspect of our work ensures that students who serve as leaders have the opportunity to enhance community building within Harvard and at the Extension School, as well as to challenge themselves and develop within their own leadership skills. What you're going to see next are the shared experiences of student leaders across the board. We hope that you will consider joining a student club during your time at the Harvard Extension School. Thank you.
Today, I have the amazing privilege to welcome three of our previous student leaders who served during the 2020-2021 academic year to share a little bit about their experiences, just so that both current students and prospective students get a sense of the student interaction that takes place, the networking, but most importantly, leadership experience for adult learners at Harvard Extension School. Without further delay, I will have our student leaders introduce themselves. And so if we can start with Yasmine, and then we'll go to Silvia, and then Brandon. Just let us know your name, your degree program, um, the leadership role that you held, and to tell us the specific work that your organization does. And so Yasmine, Sylvia, and then Brandon.
Hi everyone, I'm Jasmine Gutierrez. I'm a recent graduate of the ALM program in the field of management, and I served for the past year as the president of the Harvard Extension School Management and Finance Club. The main goal of our club is to connect our community. We're very globally dispersed. So our goal is to connect as much as we can to grow as a community and to learn from each other.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. My name is Silvia Black. I am an ALB student. I graduate next year. I'm very excited in 2022. I was HESA's, so that's Harvard Extension Student Association's Director of Events this past term. HESA is basically the student government and umbrella organization for all student groups at the Extension School. We were established in 2001 and serve more than 16,000 students globally. Our primary relationships are with the Harvard Graduate Council, HES clubs, the Harvard Alumni Association, and the Undergraduate Council.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brandon Edwards, and I'm originally from Florence, Italy, but now call Nashville, Tennessee home. And I am a recent graduate in the ALM in Religion program at the Harvard Extension School. I had the pleasure of serving as one of the Harvard Global Ambassadors for the 2020-2021 academic year. And what the Global Ambassadors program helps create and foster online communities, and not just online, it's been online because of COVID, but online and in-person communities to represent the large and growing student body across the entire world that represents Harvard Extension School. And so we help create these communities online and with by creating events and being able to connect together from wherever you are in the world with an extended Harvard community.
Excellent. Thank the three of you again for being here. And so the next series of questions are really to help us and really help you to reflect on your leadership and your contribution during your service as student leaders to your peers. My first question is for Sylvia. We know that there's a choice involved in serving your peers. And so tell us a little bit, why did you choose to serve your peers at HES?
Yeah, thank you. And Brandon, just to piggyback off of the sense of building community at Harvard, that was really what drew me to student leadership. I wanted to build a sense of community. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. As mentioned, there's over 16,000 students at the Extension School, and they span everywhere from New York to Greece to, I mean, everywhere across the globe. And I just wanted to build a sense of community. I wanted to feel like I was a part of something, you know, creating a space where students can feel at home, where students can feel welcome, where students can feel like they belong. And I wanted a hand in that. And so that's what drove me to student leadership within HESA.
And I will certainly attest to that in being part of the incredible events that you created, Sylvia. I want to ask Brandon the same questions because you also highlighted again this aspect of community. And so for you, was this the only reason, or are there other reasons as well, as to why you chose to serve?
Well, one of the greatest parts about Harvard Extension School is that it's all over the world, that anybody from any place, in essence, can earn their way in. And as, kind of seeing myself as an international student, having grown up most of my life overseas, being able to connect with others and connect with others, not just across the world, but also in my region. That was one of the things I really wanted to do is, as someone who lives in Tennessee, I wanted to see who else was studying, was on the same path with me, and being able to connect with them, because it's so easy in our daily age these days to find ourselves in kind of these little echo chambers of ourselves. Well, I wanted to see who else was with me, who else was out there that I could connect with, that I could engage with, and hopefully encourage, uplift in the same way that others have done for me in these same ways. So to me, it was about connecting with people, but I also wanted to be able to serve people in my community and in my area. So those were the biggest drawing points for me.
That is wonderful. Such a great way to also, again, learn of who else is on the same journey with you, and figure out ways to help one another. And so thank you for that. My next question is going to be for Yasmine. And Yasmine, I know you served as the previous president for the Harvard Extension School Management and Finance Club. You and I have had several conversations during your tenure, but I want to know from you, what aspect of your role as president did you enjoy the most?
It's hard to pick only one, Mark, you know that, but I'll try. So mainly meeting and collaborating with others, especially with our board members, with the school, with the faculty, because we get to collaborate across different aspects of the club to find ways to better serve the community. Like Brandon and Sylvia have said, our community is globally dispersed. And what makes us unique is that we can still connect somehow. We find ways to connect with each other. So the pandemic also taught us that people were eager to connect. So the ability to serve and collaborate with others from HESA, from the school, from even the board, and find ways or experiences to create and help others feel the same way, right? Feel connected to each other, find common grounds, share pains, share successes, share best practices, and kind of go through the pandemic together and not feel so much alone as we were going through this.
That's wonderful, and you really do bring a good point as to all of your work, for the three of you were really in the backdrop of a global pandemic, and so this sense of creating community, even though that's important because we're across the globe, it was even that much more important, I know, for all of you, and to ensure that students felt that they were still connected with one another. I'm going to ask Sylvia the same question, as to what aspect of your role did you enjoy the most?
You know, honestly, I think to Yasmine's point with mentioning the pandemic and finding creative ways to really connect with students overseas, I feel the same way, but I also feel like what I enjoyed the most was the challenge of that aspect, right? Of creating something that had never really been done before in a scenario where the situation was extremely unique to the times, right? Everyone within the extension school, within the university, in the world was going through extreme changes and extreme challenges. And I think the part of my leadership that I enjoyed the most, excuse me, was coming up with creative ways to get people out of their heads, right? And into a space of feeling positive and uplifting students out of this space of feeling maybe sad about not being able to go home, maybe sad about missing family members, maybe feeling constricted by being in one space for an extended period of time. So really creating just different ways to engage with the students, ways that provided value, but also offered a sense of fun too, right? We held multiple game nights. We hosted our 20th year anniversary this year, which was a lot of fun and planning as well, where we had a DJ come in, so that was great. But then also to hosting events that provide value and uplift women, for example, an initiative that we inspired with our women's empowerment initiative. And so striking that balance of fun, but then also offering value to our students where they felt like it wasn't just a community that was similar to class setting. It was one that really helped develop their personal growth and just sense of belonging within Harvard's community. So that aspect is something that I really enjoyed, not just on my own, but also with building with my team members at the at HESA.
That is incredible and brilliant, because I think that these challenges that you just introduced, Sylvia, I know there were conversations that I had with all of you. In the beginning, they seemed daunting and not fun at all. But I just can remember just over time, just how incredible you came to see your leadership roles as students, really looking forward to um, the ability to come into a space where they feel like, it was the only positive thing going on, especially given the news cycle that was taking place. And so it really was remarkable, even for myself, to watch some of the things that all of you did to bring students together. My next question is for Brandon, and that is, what was one highlight of your experience as a student leader?
So that's a great question, mainly because I think it ties into what we've kind of been what became my goal with my leadership role as a Harvard Global Ambassador, which was for me was to uplift what I call the hidden student, which is the students within HES that people may have missed that I found in my classes through my experience. I went, how do people not know who this person is? And so I kind of made it my goal. And one of my favorite highlights was working with Jessica Azar, who is a TV reporter, has a show with MTV in Lebanon, in Beirut, and survived the Beirut blast that happened last year, having to deal with that during a pandemic. And the work that she was doing with the nonprofits, they are just fascinating things. And she and I just happened to be in classes together. And I just wanted to uplift those individuals and show them. And so I remember Josh Shipp, Ted has incredible TED Talks that he's done on foster care system and the rest. And so all of these individual students, I kind of looked at it as this leadership opportunity allows me to lift up these voices that are students that are going through the same thing all these other students are going through. But I want to give them this platform, this ability to share this invaluable information and experience. And so to me, that was the highlight as a leader, was how I could engage with others, because my motto in life is it's not about me. It's about how can I uplift constantly others. And that became a beautiful transition of leadership for me in highlighting these incredible HES students that were out there just who didn't have that platform yet that we could uplift in some way.
That's excellent. And Brandon, you may or may not know this, but I still run into students and administrators, including Dean Green, and still talking about some of these incredible events and showcasing students who are here and the kind of work that they're doing. And it's really incredible too, because it speaks to the work of the global ambassadors is, making sure that folks are aware of who else is here, who else across the globe is at Harvard. And and again, creating these highlight moments for students were just impeccable for a year that we saw so many challenges. I'm going to ask the same tough question to you, Yasmine, and that is one highlight for you as a student leader in your presidential role.
It's hard to follow Brandon. So, but I think another highlight, and this shows why we're all here today, is when we had the chance to meet with Dean Coleman and share the accomplishments of the clubs and HESA and the Global Ambassador Program. And at the end, even the Dean Coleman said, okay, I'm seeing a common theme coming through all of this is community. So that was like a light bulb moment for me. I'm like, okay, we're all here for the same reason, to build community. So that was for me one of the highlights as we were reflecting through the year of a pandemic, of the challenges like Sylvia mentioned, of how we can still lift others, like Brandon was saying, is realizing that we were all here for the same reason, and it was to build our community.
Thank you. That's wonderful. Okay, all of you. And so this is going to be my final question. And hopefully it's not too tough, but I'll start with Sylvia. What was the most important lesson of leadership for you?
Wow. There's so many lessons in leadership that I've learned being a part of student government at HESA at the Extension School. Um, but I think one of the most important ones is there's a few, and I'll probably name three. Sorry, everyone. Um, but the first I want to start with is holding yourself accountable to the things that you say you're going to do, um, and also understanding the level at which you're operating, right? Harvard University is not to be taken lightly. That name holds so much weight. And me stepping into this leadership role, I knew I had to come with my A game. And I strongly advise anyone who would like to take part in any leadership opportunity to do the same. This is the opportunity of a lifetime. And putting your A game, exercising your leadership skills, and just doing your best. To me, holding myself accountable to that was probably the strongest leadership lesson that I've learned, especially having to exercise those leadership skills during the pandemic. That's number one. Number two, I would say teamwork, and uplifting others when everything kind of just seems at disarray and disorganized and completely at a loss. Um, I have to be real with you guys. We were in the middle of a pandemic, you know, there's no sugarcoating that. And a lot of people were going through so many challenges. Leading in that time, being a new leader in that time, exercising your leadership skills in that time, I think heightens and elevates the importance of teamwork and uplifting the members of your team around you, especially when you guys feel like you're navigating in a space where you have no idea how this is going to end up. It's so important to just lock arms, work together, and communicate. And then also too, the last and final lesson I would say is just being open to learning new ways of doing things, adopting different processes, and maybe even creating some new processes and figuring out how to go from point A to point Z when there may not really be a structured way to get there. So to me, yeah, those would be the three most important lessons in leadership that I've learned.
That's incredible. And I know for a fact that I learned a few things from all three of you in terms of, you know, being open to learn as well. And so thank you for that. Yasmine, the same question. I'll repeat it just so you realize how tough of a question this one is, and that is, what is the most important lesson of leadership for you?
I'm gonna mention two, since the first one is just we have to remember that leadership is not just a role or a position, that leadership is a mindset, that you have to continue nourishing it and practice it and grow into it. And that with leadership comes responsibility as an adult, as a person, as a professional, to enable others to be their best selves and to help others grow as well, not just ourselves, but the people surrounding us and the people that we interact with every day. We've mentioned that it's been a challenging year. So this year I learned also that the importance of emotional intelligence, the importance of practicing emotional intelligence and understanding where others are coming from, especially when we run into challenges or differences. So those were my main two, I guess, lessons for the year.
Thank you, I love sticking to sort of the question, but I'm glad that I'm getting all of these extra lessons, and I so welcome it. So, Brandon, for you as a global ambassador, what was the most important lesson of leadership for you?
So I'll lean into this one a little bit differently because everything that's been said has already been beautifully stated. One of the events that I was able to create focused on liminal space, which is the idea of what I like to call between the no longer and the not yet. It's when you can't go back, but you're not yet where you want to be. And so much of the pandemic is what we've experienced with that. We all want to go back, but we can't, but we're not yet where we want to be. And then I realized that that's pretty much most students' lives. You can't go back to where it was before you started this beautiful journey of Harvard Extension School in the same way. You're not yet where you really want to be. And so with that, one of the key things that I learned is that hope is a beautiful thing, and it needs to be nurtured, and it needs to be encouraged and grown, especially during liminal times, liminal spaces. But that at the same time, we need to learn to lean into the discomfort of these liminal spaces, these hallways, because that's where true growth happens, is when you're challenging yourself. And so when you're growing yourself in those ways. And so I guess that's kind of mine, is that hope is a beautiful thing, but you need to lean into the discomfort that comes at times as you're reaching for the hope of tomorrow, the hope of the future career, jobs, whatever it may be, even just attaining that degree at the end of this whole entire program. That if we can learn to lean into these tough situations, deal with those moments, that ultimately in the end, it's worth it. The journey itself makes it worth it. And as a leader, that's the key thing I kept on telling myself. I'm going to mess up. I'm going to get something wrong along the way. Monitor and adjust and keep moving forward towards that ultimate goal.
Wonderful, wonderful. And again, thank the three of you for sharing these remarkable experiences. I know for a fact that my own leadership has grown in being able to work with all of you this past year. You've taught me so much. And the most important aspect of what I've learned is the fact that the Harvard Extension School experience is truly made up of every single one of you and the special and amazing students who are here. That can never be taken away, and that's never going to change. So, again, thank the three of you for your service and for your leadership. It's been a wonderful year getting to know you all closely. And I know that we wouldn't have had such a successful year without each of your work. And so, thank you. For those of you watching this video, please let us know if you're interested in learning more about student leadership at Harvard Extension School. Feel free to email us at deanofstudents@extension.harvard.edu. Once again, Silvia, Yasmine, Brandon, thank you so much.